Hello, I'm host Dirk, and I'm here with Taylor and Jewel. Fussy, affirming, getting Flanders. That's her type. She's fussy, affirming, getting Flanders. I'm not, by the way. I'm the exact opposite. It turns out I am a frolicking putter, negating crotchetiness. Anyhow, we're not talking about that. I wanted to ask Jewel what she thought when she said to herself, "Oh, good, I spent my time wisely the last 2 hours," or if she thinks to herself, "Oh, I spent my time poorly the last 2 hours." What is the distinguishing? What are the determinants? What determines the outcome of that question for you?
So if I spent my time wisely, it depends on what tasks I have to accomplish. And so if I can accomplish any of those, I've spent my time wisely. But then conversely, it can also be, it depends on what exactly my goal is, actually, because sometimes I just want to relax and take it easy. And so if I've watched a show or done something I enjoy, then I feel like I've spent my time wisely also.
What are
So.
circumstances that cause you to go, God, I can't believe I just spent the last 2 hours doing that? Does that ever happen?
That would happen if somebody else had expectations of me. So if there was like something I had to get done for someone else and I wasted time not doing it, then I would probably think, why did I waste my time? Because someone is expecting something and I have to deliver that.
That's FESI, power punch.
Yeah.
um, okay, so when I answered that question, I thought to myself, the reason I asked the question is because I tend to feel as though if I make music that I spend time trying to polish it up anyway. It's more real work than if I make a video like this, and why I would feel that way, and why what the values are indicative in that and stuff. So, can you think of certain kinds of time you spend? You go, "Oh, that well spent," and also more significant than some other time you think, "Well, that was well spent, but less significant," and where you draw those distinctions.
I think if I spend time well and it's more significant, it is doing something that's going to, this is going to sound so typical, but probably something that provides for my family. So if I spend time cooking a meal, or if I spend time getting all the laundry done for everyone, or that to me has more significance than if I spend time well and it's maybe more of a selfish endeavor, I guess.
Oh my God,
What are
I
you
want
gonna?
one, Taylor. I
What are
want
you,
one.
gonna come through?
Uh, I mean, yeah, that's what I need in life, right? Somebody who feels that way. That's what I'm looking for. Um, and, you know, I will stress to any random ISFJ woman in the world who's out there watching this and goes, "Well, I'm kind of like that," and I'm in Eric's demographic range and single and all those other things. Well, this is what I have to say to you. Listen, I'm not saying I want to full on take advantage of that shit. I'm just saying it's a really helpful default to have to fall back on when I fail, as I sometimes will. But I'll succeed in other ways. I'll charm the pants off. You don't even worry about
Yeah.
And she's pregnant.
it.
You gotta lead with that. That's your opening line.
Well, I feel like what you need to do, and I've thought this before, is that I've watched some of your videos with the ISFJ, and it's generally from the perspective of like what the ISFJ can do for me. So, like, I need someone to help me, structure my life and help me, those types of things. What are you going to provide for the ISFJ
Right.
in
Well,
return?
those videos are not actually directed at some perceived potential ISFJ. They're directed at
But
people
you
who
don't know who
aren't
could be
that
watching
person.
them.
I know it's dumb of me. I'm not saying it's not dumb. I'm just saying if I were actually to speak to the ISFJ,
Right.
I would present it as shit I have to offer, not shit I want to get. You know,
Uh huh.
obviously there would be no point in it. That would be silly of me. I wouldn't want to try to do that. Yeah. I mean, the thing is, I do think I have plenty to offer on ISFJ. You know, I think I do believe in the dual thing when it comes to, at least when it comes to ENTP and ISFJ. I think it makes perfect sense to me. The model that said what it says is why it should work. It makes sense. So I think that the things I have to offer maybe are a little bit less tangible. I mean, I have tangible shit to offer, like, money and stuff, but
I think that what what ISFJs need most is the intangible things. They need to just recognize that they're creative too. They like doing things for other people, but it needs to be appreciated.
Yeah.
They need to be credit for their thoughts and their feelings are deeper than instantly portrayed. Things like that.
Yeah. That's all very true.
Well, here's the message I'm taking from all of this. Eric, you need to stop always saying the true things and start just sort of positioning yourself as that person that they want to see a person positioning themselves as, rather than somebody who's trying to meta out of it. And I think that's a fair behavioral tip that I'm gleaning from this and shall attempt to ascribe to myself. Or shall attempt to ascribe to. Or follow.
I mean, talking about you though, and sometimes they just get burned out and it needs to be about them.
Right. Well, that's what I'm saying is probably what I need to do is that, which is be more aware of the fact that I can't describe my way out of the thing. I have to actually display it. But I'm not going to do it right now if that's what you're waiting for. If that's what you were going with that.
I don't know how you describe your way out of that conundrum.
No, I just meant like, and I was having a little trouble following that part of it, but I just meant in most of the videos I've seen, it can come across as ideally you would like an ISFJ housekeeper or like an ISFJ cook, I mean, like, and so I'm saying, that's all.
Yeah, fair point to make. And I'll say this as well, that my words, and I've noticed this in Taylor too, that one habit I have is to say words that represent one corner of the picture that's all one particular color. And everyone goes, you mean that picture's all black? Just a big black scribble all across the picture? No, it's just that little corner right there. If you actually pull out the whole picture, it's a lot more balanced and it's a lot more probably socially wise and stuff like that. I just need to display that instead of displaying this other thing. It's like a holdover from show off rebel Eric, who always wants to show off and be rebellious and reject social norms and stuff. It's still deeply embedded in me, but I try to get over it as best possible.
I gotcha. I distracted you from your original topic, though, which was time. So, don't know.
Right, using time wisely or poorly.
We don't know how to use it anyways. So, we should talk about the important things.
What's the important things? What's important to do?
Oh shit! I gotta call that guy back. Thanks.
SI stuff. SI stuff's important to do.
SI stuff. I shouldn't have to. Yeah, my SI seriously just throws in the towel from time to time.
Sometimes that might be nice, though. Only in the sense that if you don't remember it, maybe you don't feel guilty about it. Like, because I'll remember things that I just don't want to do, and I know I need to do them, and then I feel bad the whole time I'm not doing them. But if you just forget, you have to do it.
The ENTP version of that is, what can I say that's believable that can get me out of this situation now?
The other part of it is, I'll remember to take that seriously later.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Don't worry, Eric. I'm sure you will. I'm sure this time you will remember to take this seriously later.
Oh, shit. Okay. Okay, there you go. Whoops. Here. Just plop it on the big thing. You hit that gear that pops up.
Oh my goodness. How's it going, Nick?
Nick,
I'm alright. Better.
Nick, how do you
Yeah.
know?
For you?
We need you to check for background. Do we think that it's Ken? Do we think that does it have an accordion on it?
It was fun anytime. Hey, hey, Giggles.
Yeah.
How do you know if you spent time wisely, and how do you know if you spent time poorly?
Depending on how much stuff I guess I get done.
Do you know what wise versus productive?
I don't know. I
What's a
am
good use?
distracted at the moment.
She's looking at wieners.
Was Ken on here?
Nick, how do you know if you spent time well versus how do you know if you spent time poorly? Nick, can you hear me? Kissing and you, hissin' and here's and me.
Okay.
Into the I to the C to the K. Can you hear me? Can you hear me today? Hey Nick, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, I have a question for you. How do you know if you spent time well versus how do you know if you spent time poorly?
Looking at the repercussions of it.
If it doesn't have bad repercussions, have you spent time well?
If I learned from it and it got me towards a direction that was helpful, aligned with the overall scheme of things. I mean, I don't know, because I can say that with this. I spent a lot of time doing this stuff and talking to people from here, and some things went well, some things didn't. Sometimes it's hard to.
You seem a little down.
Mm-hmm.
Have you been visited by the bluebird of despair?
I have.
Oh.
Did it poop on you?
It pooped on me.
It'll be okay.
Tell us about it, Nick. If you want to share any of the story of your blues. You want me to play a blues riff while you tell us the story?
I don't know. I'm impartial. I don't care.
Hello Kitty cares, though.
He doesn't really care.
Tell us your sad story, Nick.
There was a girl,
Uh-oh.
and then there was no more girl. The end.
Girl that I'm thinking of the recent girl? I'm gonna message you. Block?
Huh?
I said if you're from the block.
Yeah, she's from the block.
There was a girl. Nick lost the girl.
No, that's a terrible one.
The girl went away. No more girl. Girl yesterday.
Jack off all day.
But today. She's gone away.
Like my brain and extroverted thoughts.
Well, I'm sorry to hear your sad story of blues and heartache, Nick.
Now he's got a jack.
I've got Coca-Cola here with your name on it.
Oh, that's sweet. I'm good. I mean,
Light the camera. So why is there no more girl? What happened to said girl? Help me name or being specific.
she said it wasn't the best thing for her at the time, and that her mom kind of like swayed her the other way.
Oh.
Oh no, her mom.
It was made a big like it was.
Is there some guy complaining it?
How I felt was I hit it off with her quite well compared to other girls that I had talked to in that way before, romantically. And there was not a whole lot of reasons not to just to see what happened with just a little bit further. I don't know.
So is this just a temporary, like this is just a hiccup here, or were you talking about like totally done?
Well, I have to do totally done. I'm the one that said totally done, or am saying totally done.
Heck. Why?
Because, I mean, there's...
Because you didn't get what you wanted?
Are you being
No, because a long-term relationship, or a long-distance relationship without knowing, without meeting the person, and without, it just doesn't seem...
Did you give an ultimatum where you like do this thing or it's done?
No, I'm just gonna be done. I think she knows that.
Okay.
I think she knew that by saying that.
Oh.
Because I was like, it's hard to justify such feelings and things without having met and seeing what really happens during that thing.
Yeah.
And
you didn't want to invest any more feelings into it if you weren't going to turn into something legitimate?
Exactly. There's a lot of girls out there. And I don't know, that just seems like a recipe for disaster. Like, be consumed with someone who's not
available?
Yeah.
Necessarily? Yeah.
Somebody said the other night a good sentence, which was, guys are frustrated.
Guys are frustrated?
How ironic.
I think it's fair. I think it's a fair statement to make that guys are frustrated because I think we find the dating scene in whatever capacity we engage it, whether we engage it as somebody who gets a lot of initial interest or somebody who doesn't, regardless, when you get past those initial sort of like, okay, well, I'm actually talking to you now. There's a very jaded quality and a very withholding quality to both parties, I suppose.
Well, there wasn't any of that during the. I mean, we had 6-hour phone call. You know what I mean?
I'm not talking about your exact situation, Nicholas. I am saying, ripping off the topic of frustrated gentlemen, why they are frustrated, because there's a sense that the women are looking for some perfect individual who does not exist. How many of a woman's criteria must a man meet before he actually becomes a viable option?
And if you look at my Pat's history, not very many. I mean, it's not.
Okay, well, but which criteria? See, and that's the thing. And then the women who are picking on a few criteria, why are they choosing on the criteria they're choosing on? That's why it's frustrating for men.
Well, I was frustrated because I felt like I was perfect for this individual.
Oh, there's your clue.
They should have brought in a
Based on what she said and her saying that, too.
Is there circumstances going on in her life that are, it could be maybe circumstantial and not necessarily the way she perceives you?
Yes.
Is what I would take from it.
Yeah. Well, and I understand.
Yeah.
I don't hold it against her. Nothing. It all makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it all makes sense.
But to me, it sounds like you got friend zoned.
I hope you didn't scare her away.
But I would say when someone like, at least from, like, you can
No, that makes sense. I understand why you would say that.
let go. This just isn't going to work out. It's not right.
Or it could be. Who knows?
It could be simply a time frame disagreement. One person wants to know sooner legitimacy in order to bother investing any emotions in it. The other person says, well, I need to already have invested a lot of emotions into it before I can ascribe it legitimacy. This is a problem that my ex-wife and I had when we were getting a divorce. Was I kept saying, listen, Candace, you just need to make sure you tell me which direction are we pulling in. Are we trying to fight for the marriage, or are we trying to figure out how to dissolve it? And she wouldn't answer that question. She wanted me to fight for the marriage without having a clear agreement in place that we're both fighting for the marriage. And in fact, I did for a while anyway. But as I explained to her, I can't steer the boat, bail the boat, and jump off the boat and get you when you go swimming away into the sharks. It's impossible. So, you're going to have to stay on the fucking boat, or we're going down. And, we crashed on an island, and then we each got picked up by different jet skis and taken in different directions. So, that's to finish out the metaphor. Regardless, the point being that this is an issue where she wanted to feel her way into conclusiveness. And I needed to have the conclusion so that I could decide what I needed to feel. It's a conflict that people sometimes have.
Well, I kind of see it also, and maybe I'm wrong here. I don't know all the details, but I feel like is she the type in the past that has gone with like her heart, her instinct, and it's kind of not worked out well for her? So I feel like she's
You are good. You are good.
I feel like she's taking the situation and she's trying to think about it logically, because in the past she hasn't, and it hasn't worked out.
She said she's trying to think of all the reasons it could be terrible.
Right. So she's thinking, and she doesn't have the security right now that she needs to feel like this is something she can really pursue, I think, at this time.
Wow. Well done, Joel.
Well, guys.
Wow, that's spot on.
You're ignoring the elephant in the room. She's kind of got a thing for Saren.
That's true. That's all like a smoke screen for what's really going on.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So,
A secret desire.
I'm joking. Okay? Just for everybody's clear reference here.
I appreciate you saying that, man. That's funny. But well done, Joel. Seriously. Wow.
Thank you.
Couldn't have said it any better. That's impressive.
Well, I like
you should
the
start
fact
a
that
dating.
Sorry for interrupting you. My bad.
Go ahead. No, it's perfect.
I like the fact that stuff's explicit, like being talked about openly rather than like whispered about. I like transparency a lot. I'm a big believer in transparency.
Yeah.
In drama, you like a little bit of drama.
Oh, I love the
You do
drama.
I love the drum.
You like a little bit of the drums.
I take 3 Dramamine pills every morning for that reason.
You know what I feel like, Nick?
Please tell me, because I'm sure you're dead on.
Don't do the whole cutting it off, okay? You need to invest more time. This has happened quickly. You really haven't known each other that long, right? Give her the reassurance she needs. What she really needs is reassurance that you are going to be steady, you're going to be there if she needs you to be there, and that she needs to be able to work it out in her own mind, and you're just going to have to be, like I said, be steady for her, be there for her, and over time she'll see if you're consistent and that she can depend on you. That'll give her that reassurance she needs to feel like this is something that could actually work, I think.
I want to add on to what you just said, which is, I don't know if this is actually correct or not. I'm just sort of playing devil's advocate. But the thing is, we want shit to happen in our time frame. And for people who don't have 7th slot FI is about increasingly feeling different feelings for people as a relationship matures over time. And some of those processes can be sped through with some intense, like, cram sessions of bonding, basically. Like, ENTPs want to let's have a bonding cram session so we can cut right to the intimacy. But, some of them require extended, it's not quality time, it's not quantity time, it's extension of time through time. And it's, you need to know them for months, and then you get a certain level of interest that you can't have before you know people for months.
Mm-hmm.
So the thing is, though, I get where Nick's coming from as well, which is something he said on a video the other night, which is, well, shit's not working. Don't sit there and bang your head against the wall. There's a lot of fish in the sea. That's a perfectly reasonable thing to think, and that's why guys are frustrated. Well, chick wants to have all the milk without buying the cow, basically.
Yeah, I would say that that's true also. I would say, because what I said earlier about not calling it off and about still being there, I would still say, like, temper your emotional investment, though. Like, if you're all in right now, that's going to be painful over the long term if you're still, like, you're investing so much and nothing's happening. Right. And I totally get that.
All I'm saying is, we don't do half in well. That's the thing. Nick doesn't like having to be, like, in the land of uncertain okayness. He wants to be like, bah, or meh. And those are the only two statuses in life that are worth anything, right? It's either, bah, fuck yeah, or else it's boring.
Would you get bored if it were just...
I could do it. I'll think about that because I'm sure I could do that. But only because she's so cool. I mean, only because it's her. Like, I've probably talked to her for 40 plus hours straight, or not straight, but 40 plus hours of communication.
Right.
Which is quite.
I mean, I think this is what I think keep your options open. Like, you're not committed, right? You're not in a relationship with her, but you're interested in her. So keep your options open. If you want to see, if someone else comes along and you start seeing them, whatever, that's fine. But I just felt like, just like the total cutoff, it just seems like that.
I usually do that.
Right.
Because it's unreasonable to expect an individual to survive in a netherworld of uncertainty,
and I don't like begging.
Yeah, the thing is, okay, so you're not sure if you're interested in me, but I'm supposed to be sure that I'm interested in you, or am I supposed to be not sure, or fuck this, it's too complicated, just fuck it.
But that's the thing,
simple, right?
But that's the thing. It's not that she's not interested, because I have been in a similar position in my life. It's not out of disinterest. It's out of, she's concerned, Nick, there are other factors, other people that she has to take into consideration that could be very much affected by a decision, right?
Mm-hmm.
If she has to factor that in, she wants to make sure that she's making the best decision possible. That's all.
Like other dudes?
No. Well, I mean, people, it's not like a secret, right? Like a...
She's got to account to the people in her life for this individual she met on the internet. Like when I went and visited people on the trip, and Lorenz had to explain to his parents who this fucking middle-aged man who was coming to visit their 18-year-old son, right? It was some guy I met from the internet. He had to explain that to him, and I had to show up, and I was like, "Oh shit! I have to deal with this reality that I'm here visiting this kid."
How's Edmund going to explain me?
Well, because you didn't have your parents there.
But when I Facebook friend request Edmund,
I Facebook friend request Edmund. You did too?
Already broken that creepy guy.
Oh, I did it first because Taylor had a hard time doing so, and then
Did they accept it?
he requested neither of ours.
He accepted neither of your requests?
Did he accept yours, Taylor?
I haven't friend requested him yet.
Oh, he won't accept.
I like being the first, perv.
I already did it. I'm not perv. It's not perv.
It's fine. I'm all for breaking down those artificial barriers, as long as keeping the obvious ones, but breaking down the barriers between. I'm fine with being friends with kids. You know.
And I'm like,
the resident dating doctor title. She is on point with everything she has said.
So fussy Carmen getting Flanders.
That's why I said in the comments on the video, I should have a GTM dating service. People could come to me. I could give advice or whatever. I could even do matchmaking services. I could.
I've always thought about charging people to listen to hear me talk.
Jewel, you need to change your fussy to capital U, because remember, fussy uses the letter U and frolic the letter R, because Flanders gets the letter F. So it should be little f capital U.
He's funky.
Little f capital U.
Yeah.
Then what would the rest be?
Because it's like how intuitives is not a capital I in Myers-Briggs, it's a capital N.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing with fussy and frolic in this system, because F is reserved for Flanders.
I'm confused, but sure.
Regardless, that's not a very important thing to have mentioned, but I just thought I'd mention it.
Next time I change it that way.
Why would you say that about that? Don't diminish your own stuff and things.
Okay, I'm not saying it's not important in general. I'm saying it's not an important thing to mention given the topic that we were on.
It's not
it was a tangent.
It's not pertinent.
Not pertinent. I should have said it's not pertinent. Thank you, Jewel, for the correct diction. That would have been a preferable term to have used for sure.
Eric, just stop beating yourself up.
I'm okay. I think I survived that onslaught right there.
The more you say okay, the more it sounds like you're not okay.
What's the alternative that you would recommend?
I don't know. I just kind of feel like fucking around, so you don't really have a good alternative.
Wasn't that the best question to ask in that circumstance? I think so. That's a good approach.
Yeah, well, it really kind of took the thunder out of my... Fuck you. You're boring. Hey, Nick. How's your relationship?
It imploded or exploded, or perhaps...
It just hit a road bump. That's what I think.
Perhaps in a state of combustion right now, and it's yet to determine where it ends up. Who knows?
Yeah. You know what I've noticed though, Nick? I don't even know if it's still listening. Are you listening? Or are you still like, oh. I feel like since I've been coming into the GTM, I feel like there's been a series of girls that you've mentioned, that there's this infatuation, and then there's nothing, and then it's a new girl, right? And infatuation. And so I'm wondering
if we're immature.
Well, I already know that. Now I'm just wondering when does that transition into something with a little more longevity? How do you transition from this constant state of infatuation to nothing? How do you transition to finding someone and being willing to invest more long term?
Very rational questions. Taking the romantic.
That's a good question.
I know the answer.
What is it?
You can answer.
You gotta not look to your feelings for these sort of decisions, but you have to pretend like you do look for your feelings, or else chicks won't be interested. This is what we were talking about earlier. So basically, because we're ENTPs, we don't know if that feeling thing that's going on is going to persist or not. We have no idea. We can't trust it. It's consistently inconsistent. It's like you can't say it's consistently wrong. Sometimes it's right, sometimes it's wrong, sometimes it's crazy, sometimes it's sane. Who knows? It's a mess. So we can't look to our feelings for any sort of decisions. Therefore, we have to make logical decisions about our relationships. But if we're honest and we talk about our relationships in that way, then people think we're either cold, calculating, manipulative, or sociopaths or something. So what we have to do is pretend to be emotionally driven, while this is what I deduced from this evening's conversation, actually. Pretend to be emotionally driven and play those games, not give people what Taylor refers to as autonomy they don't want. I always am guilty. I'm often guilty of that, trying to put on others being fully informed when they don't really want to be fully informed. So my takeaway from this is don't be honest because it requires you to fully inform people in that capacity. Just
So
say
these
what they
are,
want to hear.
it's pretty.
And
It's pretty.
frame yourself for sales purposes, not for iconoclast purposes.
It is.
And
Oh wow!
present yourself as somebody,
Seems like
present yourself as somebody who knows.
to be a player.
You present yourself as somebody who knows he's going to get what he wants, and then be genuinely surprised if you don't. But move on. You know.
So can you give me an example? What would the difference be? Like, give me just fake scenarios. Presenting yourself like the honest way that you said that's coming from logic, and then presenting yourself in this fake emotional way. Like, what's the difference between?
Well, the honest way would be something like, "Oh, hi, you seem a potentially viable option for my mating purposes. And I think I might be a potentially viable option for your mating purposes as well.
I've never done that.
Here are my stipulations regarding what I'm looking for, ideally in a partner. I'm not absolutely against engaging in intercourse prior to us nailing this shit down if you want to, but it's not a priority. So, I mean, I'm legitimately looking for a relationship. If we could actually sit down and have this straightforward conversation and negotiate the matter, I'm sure we can both determine if, in fact, we can pursue further looking into it, or if we can just nix it right now. It's not going to work because there's deal breakers somewhere on the table. That's what I would like to do. I cannot do that. I need to give up the dream. I'm giving up the dream. And so instead what I'll say is, I'll just be, well, it's like an ISFP once told me when I was asking her what dating was, basically. And she said, well, it's just people getting to know each other. And I'm like, what? Oh, wait, what? Oh, I think. It was like that. You know how ISFPs are. They're half way more adult than you and half way more child than you.
That's funny.
So yeah, that's my take on it. Is I need to make it more like that. Basically, getting to know somebody, not about explicitly dating. Like I'm trying to lock down a mate. You know, even though it's what I'm doing, you're not supposed to talk about it directly.
Well, I mean, it's just like it's the same thing as a woman. You're gonna grow up hearing your whole life. You're not gonna go on a first date and talk about your wedding plans and how many kids do you want to have. You know what I mean? Because you're going to scare the guy off, right?
See,
I mean, it's kind of the same.
Very interesting knowing that, though, because if our intentions there are vastly different, then we don't want to waste any more time.
Right. I think it's smart. I think it would be smart for people to do that, and it would stop a lot of issues before they ever start. But that's not really... Unfortunately, the way the social norm is, I guess, or I don't know what social expectations are.
You gotta schmooze them. Look, here's the thing. Women want you to say, here's a path that I can clearly see the path here. We are walking down this path. You are on a good path here because I am displaying to you that there is a path here, that I know what this path is, and that this is a great path to be on. I'm just putting that to you clearly. Now, for some reason, you as the woman have chosen never to actually look at the path. You're going to look at me and see from my bearing whether or not we are on a path and whether or not it's a good path. Somehow, this is the way this shit goes. So I'm just going to have to play it like that.
Well, this is also big thing to take into consideration. This would be much different if she was local.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
You know, much differently.
Yeah,
You're talking
absolutely.
about me, of course. Gah.
I mean, that's
Gotcha.
that's why I was saying. That's why I mentioned earlier when she has to consider other people. She has children. If you're not local, what I think she is thinking ahead long term. Is she going to uproot her children, move somewhere to be with you, or would you move to be with her? Like, it's kind of a difficult situation.
Yeah, you don't even know if you like your kids yet. Your kids might be super annoying. I mean, dear God, could you imagine being with Jules' kids? I'm joking.
No, they're crazy. They're absolutely crazy.
I'm totally joking.
Kids don't scare me off.
I mean, the thing is, life is very different when you're a parent, Nick. I'll tell you that. When I was looking for a second wife as a parent, I was looking for a very different woman than I was looking for the first wife as a child bearer, child producer. Child bearer is a different position than child producer. So obviously, you have to look for a different person. And if I am she, my primary concern in looking for a mate is to find a male that fills the father, provider, caregiver, shit, that kind of stuff role most. But that's me. If I were a chick and I were in her position, I'd be thinking about it like that. I don't know. I don't think even ENTP chicks think about stuff like that really though. I think they think about it kind of like squishy. I don't know.
She hasn't settled on a type.
Yeah, I don't
right?
think she's ENTP.
I'm not saying
No.
she necessarily is. I'm saying if she is, even then, I don't think ENTP chicks think about things the same way as ENTP guys do.
I think she's an INFP if I had to guess. A smart INFP.
That's a squishy type.
Yeah, right. A smart, funny INFP.
So I feel like we're making progress in solving the mysteries of the dating world, and I'm going to plan to go about the world with an air of Slayer about me, and we'll see if it works. I'll report back to you. I have like a big red handprint on my face.
The only problem with that is then if you're portraying Slayer, you're gonna have to keep up Slayer. If she's expecting that, then you're gonna have to, like, when that facade of Slayer comes, if that comes crumbling down, is she gonna be like, what happened here?
Well, I think that's a good point, but I think that the trick is to convey nice guy at all the right moments when she wants to make sure she's feeling safe and nurtured and stuff, but to convey bedrooms over there at the right moments too, because otherwise she's gonna friend zone you. So it's a tricky balance, right? You don't want to be too soft, or else she's not gonna be interested in you. If you are too nice, you're gonna lose her for sure. You got to at some point look at her tits and be like, hey, you know. Otherwise, she's gonna position you in the wrong place in her head.
Yeah, it just sounds like a whole lot of mental work, and it makes me happy that I'm not a man.
Well, it should make you happy you're not single too. When I was in a relationship, the main thing I was happy about not being single was, well, at least I don't have to deal with that shit.
Yeah, right.
But one good thing about it for me is it's a good topic of conversation. I have a lot of interesting conversations about it here. I feel like it's an area where I can engage in a lot of self development. And it's a subset of FE that I'm particularly bad at, and unnecessarily so. I think I've erred on the side of risk avoidance and self deprecation over putting a handle on that shit. And it's partially because I'm not interested in going out and slaying the puss, right? I don't want to go bet a bunch of chicks, and it's just not my MO. It's not my style. It's not what I'd be comfortable with. It's not what I want.
Right.
So it's a spiny thing to fit into a not so spiny hole or something like that. It's really hard to depending on which direction to turn to make it fit. It's very difficult. All these conflicting components that aren't exactly exclusive but are conflicting.
Mm-hmm. What happens like when you do end up like you get a Tinder match and you go on a date and all that? How do those usually go for you? I mean, do you find that once you're
three? I've only ever had 3 Tinder dates. Once I met this woman I met one at a bar, and I had a non-alcoholic beverage. She had an alcoholic beverage, and that one we didn't get along. She hated me and whatever. So we didn't like each other basically. The second one, I took her to dinner at Outback Steakhouse, and she followed up on that, and I wasn't interested though because she was just really like, really? Oh my gosh. Are you serious? Wow.
Right.
She was like that, I wasn't down. So
yeah.
And then there was another one that was she was so similar to the second one I just told you about that I can't really keep them apart in my head. I went to another place that was like Outback, and that one went similarly. I don't think she followed up. That's it for my experience with the Tinder dates. There was one I was chasing down maybe a week or two ago, and she like gave me some encouraging messages on Tinder message. Then she texted me, and I tried to pursue it. And I didn't make any mistakes, as far as I could tell, but she eventually sent me a text saying, I'm just not really feeling like going out right now in general. And I was just like, okay, well, I totally understand. Thanks anyway. After I asked her to go out for coffee or lunch, like 2 occasions. Like I asked her once, and she said, I can't this weekend because I'm blah, blah, blah. I asked her again, and then she was like, no, I can't in general, or don't want to in general. So I was
right.
That was frustrating because I put a fair amount of time into the texting thing. I never was actually able to have a conversation with her. And I feel that if I could have a conversation, I'd be much more in the game, obviously, because then I can determine if I actually like her or not. It's like I don't even get to test. I don't even get to her. I have to pass her test before I even get to administer any test to her.
Yeah. I'm very, very glad that I was not around for the time of Tinder and like the sounds. I don't know.
It's a little disheartening sometimes. It's a little just sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's a little exciting, like you go, ooh, I kind of like this one. Maybe this one will work out. But now you made me want to check. I'm gonna see. See if I have any matches. I spent some time swiping this morning, so I'm gonna see if I have any new matches. It's possible. Although I've been swiping more aspirationally, so I've got fewer matches. More aspirationally and less realistically.
Whatever happened with the speech? Not speech. Was speech coach or we talked about? I think she was a speech coach.
Yeah, I wish I didn't have a chance to see her enough to build. It's like I was expecting to see her a couple more times, turned
Oh,
out that the commute was fucking insane. I just couldn't do it. It was like 2 hours getting home from Orange County, plus these toll roads. It was just a nightmare. So
yeah.
if that was more of a distance thing and I think that would have been that was a very promising prospect too, but it's just too goddamn far away.
Yeah.
I can't drive all the way to Orange County for shit. That's ridiculous. Not during rush hour. I can't drive back from Orange County during rush hour. See, I should have taken advantage of the fact that I fucked up. I was tired though. You know, when you have to leave, it's like when you leave, go down there early in the morning, and then it's late afternoon, and because the last time I was down there, she suggested that I hang around Orange County until rush hour was passed. But she didn't say with me.
With her, yeah.
But that would have been a great. If I, in retrospect, I should have said,
Great idea. Yeah.
well, what are you doing? You want to go get some food or something? I should have just said that, you know.
Yeah.
But I was tired and I wasn't thinking. I was stupid. I'm fucking stupid. That's all. I was just stupid. It just didn't occur to me. I'm not normally in that mode. I'm not accustomed to being in that mode. Most contexts, it's not appropriate.
So how did your previous marriages, how did those relationships form then?
First marriage, that woman I met at a party. She was a friend of a friend. And that was quick meet, engage, marry, impregnate, bear child. She cheats, we get divorced, all within 3 years.
Wow.
So that was quick and then done. Very painful for me being cheated on and that divorce, even though I didn't love her by any measurable standard. I was very much in love with the notion of being married forever and having a family and all that kind of shit. So after she was gone, then the second wife, she was my assistant at work.
Oh.
So that was an easy transition.
Wait, that wasn't one of your students. Your assistant's fine.
Yeah,
I don't know what grade you teach. Actually, that could have been a really inappropriate joke.
I had a couple of assistants actually because I was doing special ed with a population that was 18 to 22-year-olds, profoundly retarded. It was mostly custodial stuff. I had to pick them up, put them on the changing table, change their diapers, feed them, shit like that. It's like healthcare kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I had 2 assistants, and Candace was one of them. And
that sounds like an incredibly ESFJ, ISFJ type job, though, right? Like, what didn't she say?
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of soul killing for me. The thing I liked about it, I had a piano in my room.
Oh.
That's the only thing I liked about that job. Also, I had no problem lifting. Lifting wasn't an issue for me. I didn't mind lifting the kids up onto the tables and stuff. So I made myself useful by going around and lifting everybody else's kids onto their tables for them. Because it's mostly all women there, right? And so I lifted all the kids up. And then the admin liked that because everybody would always get workers' comp complaints because they'd throw their back out or whatever. But I never complained about it because I didn't like sitting in the room. And they gave me this crazy assistant, and I didn't mind her because she didn't, I could get away with anything. Basically, I could take a 2-hour lunch or whatever. So, so it was a working arrangement. It was fine. I fucked around a lot, but I did certain things that made me okay for me to fuck around like that.
Yeah. Right.
Candace was a sweetheart. She was 20 years old. I brought my daughter in. My daughter took right to her, and she took right to my daughter. And so I was like, boom, there you go.
Yeah.
I'm going to try to get on that. And I did. The first date we had was she and my daughter and me went to see the Powerpuff Girls movie. It was way back then when it was in the theater.
That's cute. Now, I watched a video. I don't remember which one it was, but you mentioned that, like, I think it was probably towards when you were getting divorced, but you had mentioned that you said to her at one point that the only woman you ever really loved was your daughter. You remember like talking about that in the video?
That's my first wife. I said that's my
Oh, that was
first
your
wife.
first wife. Oh, okay. I thought that was okay. Never
My
mind.
second wife and I had a much healthier relationship.
Oh, okay.
And we were
Well, I
together
mean,
for a long time.
seeing the situation with the first wife, that makes sense to say something like that.
Yeah.
But,
Second wife and I really did have a good relationship, and still do. We get along really well. She and I hung out the other night. Went out to dinner for the anniversary of my third year of not drinking.
oh, awesome.
And it was fun. You know, it's
Yeah.
nice hanging out with her.
That's good.
I still see her as family in the sense that if I were in some kind of bind and needed to call somebody, she'd be near the top of that list. I think I'd be near the top of hers as well, although she's got a bigger family than I do.
Yeah.
I still see her as. I still totally see her as family.
Right.
I guess once one of us gets into a serious long-term relationship with another person, assuming that happens, then at that point we'll probably see each other somewhat differently.
Yeah.
But she's definitely my daughter's mother as far as I'm concerned. The biological mother was very not interested in mothering, and so that worked out pretty well.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't need an extra mother if you got a really good one at home. You don't need an extra one.
Right. Not just meddling, getting in the way.
And Delilah still lives, or not still, but now lives with Candace and her family. Because Delilah's got that ENTP thing. She hates being alone for even 5 minutes. She's much worse than me about that. And Candace has a big family. She's got a brother, a sister. Her sister has a husband, and they have a little baby. And, you know, Candace's mom and dad live there, and Candace. And that's it, I guess. But yeah, it's a big family, and Delilah likes the hubbub.
Yeah. I was thinking that the other day. Like, there's a song I really like, and it talks about, says he'd like to marry all of his close friends and live in a big house by the sea. But I just thought, obviously not marrying your close friends, but I think there's something like kind of cool about how communities used to be. Like, everyone's so close, and like, I'm an introvert. I don't want people like in my immediate space all the time. But if you had like a big like villa somewhere where you could just have like all your friends and their families like all in their own little place, and you can like run into people as you're like going to get food or like going, you know what I mean? Like, I always thought something like that would be cool.
It would be nice. GoToMeeting is kind of like that a little bit.
Right. Yeah.
I am also a big believer in lots of social opportunities, lots of opportunities to hang out and have good times with friends and stuff. It's, to me, I think it's interesting the way that the world suits or doesn't suit people differently now than it used to because of the way that we, like you said, you know, before all the media access stuff, people engaged with each other for the sake of doing something a lot of the time, I suspect. And if they needed anything, they had to go walk over to Joe's house and say, "Hey, Joe," because they didn't have a phone back in the olden days, right? And they had to, you know, they had to get on a horse to go someplace and shit like that. That sounds fun.
Yeah.
But in the absence of that, we have to have some sort of substitute community, I guess. And this is one sort of substitute community. Thanks for watching Famous People. That's the end of this video that I forgot I was recording.